Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So you running right to what you say, but you ain't even kept the fact.
Hey, look, it said keep the commandments of God and the faith.
And the faith.
And is a conjunction word. If you know anything about this language we speak, and is a conjunction word. It means you can't have one without the other.
That sounds like faith and works.
This is what you're supposed to seek at the law, at the priest lips. Precepts of that Ezekiel 22. Malachi chapter 2 verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth. For he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts.
So if he ain't doing that,
You lying.
somebody lying. Uh-oh.
Why y'all calling yourselves saved? I got a script for that.
Another precept. Line upon line. Precept upon precept. Come on, bro.
The book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 14. I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus.
He say he what?
I press. He ain't chilling. Putting in work. Work out your salvation. In fear and trembling. Work out your salvation. Work. It's an action. It's a verb. Work.
Right. Come on, pull it.
What you gonna be doing, huh? Something you gonna have to be doing. It ain't nothing that you can just have blind.
Can't just say this ain't no lip service.
Philippians 1:27. Philippians 1:27. Oh, we don't get involved with them out there. They like to argue the word. They like to argue about it. We don't do that. Philippians 1:27. Only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Christ. That whether I come and see you or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs. That you stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. Striving together for the faith of the gospel. Right? And in nothing terrified by your adversaries, which is to them an evident token of perdition, but to you salvation and that of Yahweh. For unto you it is given in behalf of Christ, not only to believe on him, but also to suffer for his sake, having the same conflict which he saw in me, and now here to be in me.
The book of Jude, 1 chapter, verse 3. Behold, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith.
No, pat people on the back and tell them it's okay.
That ye should earnestly contend for the faith.
No, give them some candy and tell them bunnies lay eggs.
That ye should earnestly contend for the faith, which was once delivered unto the saints.
Scream on.
For there are certain men crept in unaware, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness.
What does that mean now?
Wickedness, and denying the only Lord God and our Master, Jesus Christ, Yahushua.
What's lasciviousness now?
Extreme wickedness is the same thing as concupiscence, lasciviousness, same thing, is no different. They're using you for material gain, your merchandise to them now. That's all it is. Extreme wickedness. So they turn the grace of our God into lasciviousness. So look, the Lord gave us grace, right? We're not killing homosexuals, but homosexuals get worse now. You see that? And they preach like, oh, it's okay. I heard a preacher the other day saying, abomination is not mentioned in the Hebrew text, not at one time.
You a lie.
And he's a sodomite preacher.
You a lie.
He said we have to re-examine and reinterpret the Bible because abomination is not in the Hebrew text, not one time. I said, you see how many people are swallowed that hook, line, and sinker without going to look it up?
Right.
I knew it was in there. I looked it up anyway. Cracked his head to the white meat. The hell you mean it ain't in her? Abomination means something disgusting to God.
Detestable.
Now, that brother say earlier that they ain't made no difference between the holy and the profane, right?
Right.
Clean or unclean. This sounds like Christian doctrine right here, Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, right? Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. You know what that means? Stop telling people that Christmas is Christ's birthday. That's a lie. They actually sacrificed the abomination on the altar on the 25th of Kislev. Christ kept the feast of dedication. What do you think that was? But until you read the Apocrypha, under the Protestant Reformation, they took it out because they said Christ never quoted it. But he keep the feast of dedication. Where can you find that at? See how you've been lied to? You know good and doggone well all these are pagan holidays. A Christian will tell you that, but he'll justify his wickedness to keep you blind. Because misery loves company. What you talking about? That's ridiculous. Habakkuk chapter 2 tell you, woe to them that build a city by blood, right? What was this city built by?
A lot of blood.
When has the oppressor ever given you anything good? Go ahead, bro.
And to show y'all there was a separation between clean and unclean before Moses came into play, Genesis chapter 7, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house unto the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take of thee by 7, and male and his female. Of the beasts that are not clean, by 2, the male and his female. So what is there a difference between clean and unclean in the times of Noah?
That was pre-Sinai too. So understand, like you said, that the Most High already put in the earth things that are clean and unclean. That was pre-Sinai, before Moses got it.
See, Adam was made in the image of God, right? He knew good, all good. There was no need to know the evil.
Precept for that. Job chapter 14, verse 1. Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not. And doest thou open thine eyes upon such a one and bringest me into judgment with thee? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? Not one.
Not one.
Not one. So while you trying to change up something that started out wicked, Negro, you ain't better than God.
If you can do it, what you need God for?
Right.
And if you can change wicked and unclean, if you think you have that type of power, then what you need your house?
And if you saved already, what you going to church for?
What you going to church for?
You gotta repeat yourself and get your kingdom down.
Oh, by the way, church is not the building. So what you going there for? You going to fellowship with people. Then pull Hebrews chapter 10. Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together as the manner of some is. But we gonna read the rest of that. We gonna finish that off. Because they like to read that and not finish that. Hebrews chapter 10. Verse I'm gonna start at verse 18. Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin. There is no more offering for sin. There's no more offering for sin. Christ was the sacrifice for sin of your flesh. Having therefore, brethren, boldness, not weakness, boldness to enter into the holiest by the blood of Yahushua, by a new and living way. Wait a minute. How are you saved and you still doing Christmas? How are you saved and you still doing Easter? What was different? You did all those customs before you even stepped into the church house. How are you saved? All right? By a new and living way, which he hath consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh, and having a high priest over the house of Yahweh. Let us draw near with a true heart, in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience, and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. Here's the part that Christians like to use to get you to come
So-called
fellowship.
Christians.
So-called Christians. I like that.
Yeah.
Verse 25. Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. For if we sin willfully, wait a minute.
Willful sin. Oh.
How do you sin willfully?
I'm gonna go knock this dude's wife off.
What?
No better.
How do you sin willfully?
So I'm gonna go steal that nigga car.
How do you sin willfully? Right? After that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin.
So that willful sin ain't no sacrifice for us. So hey,
You
don't
playing
sit there.
Russian roulette at that
Yeah,
point.
man, you playing with your soul eternal, man.
Check this out. Why would they use Moses in this context right after that? But a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses of how much sorer punishment. You know what that means? I'll break it down into terms that people can understand.
Get to him, man.
If your brother got chastised for doing something before you became old enough to do the same thing that he did in your mama or daddy house, they tell you, if I whooped your brother tail and you turn around and do the same thing, how much more you think I'm gonna whoop you? So that means,
And you see what happened to
that
him.
means that if you didn't know the Hamashiach before he came as identifiable flesh and you wasn't keeping the law, what you think gonna happen to you if you know he came and you don't keep the law?
You got a worse punishment coming,
You got
man.
a sore punishment.
Now you scared of them judgments in the Old Testament, boy. They said Christ gonna triple that.
Suppose ye,
Blood up to the
shall
horse's
he be
bridle.
thought worthy, who have trodden underfoot the Son of Yahweh, and have counted the blood of the covenant, wherewith he was sanctified, an unholy thing, and have done despite to the Spirit of grace. How do you do despite to the Spirit of grace?
Counting it as done.
No, celebrate. Count it as done.
Thinking you can do whatever you want.
How do you do despite to the Spirit of grace if you're saved already? Nobody got an answer for that? Nobody got an answer for that.
You know what it means.
They don't even know what it means. That means if you take God's laws like they toilet paper and say you can do what you want to under Christ, you done done despite to the Spirit of grace. Because now you don't get killed under his law by the people who was giving you the law. You under grace to get it right under his son's blood.
Until
he come back. Hold up, check this out. When you get a yellow notice, what that means? Let your bill come. The first notice, they ain't got no colors on it. It's just a natural bill. You owe $234. If you don't pay it in a timely manner, what bill they send? A yellow one, right? After the yellow one, what comes after that?
the pink one.
The pink.
They're gonna pink one.
The pink one comes.
They gonna cut your lights off.
Turn the lights off. Right.
Grace out. Grace done ran out.
Coming back to give every man according to his ways and his works. Don't that mean that the grace period done ran out?
America will burn.
You got your
Grace
pink
on his
nose.
way.
Judgment day has begun.
How are you saved?
Will
How
burn.
are you saved and judgment still coming? That don't make sense.
Hey, how about the Yangtze River in China just turned blood red this morning? Breaking news, blood red. I got it on the swivel.
First Corinthians 11.